You go to bed feeling fine, but you wake up at 2 a.m. with your heart racing, your mouth so dry it feels like you swallowed sand, and you have to get up to use the bathroom for the third time that night. Sound familiar? Most people brush this off as just getting older, or blame it on that extra glass of water before bed. But here's what almost nobody tells you. Your body might be trying to send you a message while you sleep, and it has everything to do with what's happening to your blood sugar overnight. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through 7 quiet, easy-to-miss signs that show up while you're sleeping, signs that many people ignore for years simply because they don't know what to look for. And stick with me until the end, because sign number 5 is the one that catches even health-conscious people completely off guard, and it's often mistaken for something totally unrelated. Let's talk about why nighttime matters so much in the first place. During the day, we're moving, eating, drinking, distracted by life. But at night, when your body is supposed to be resting and repairing itself, it's also quietly working through whatever sugar is left in your bloodstream from your last meal. For some people, this process runs smooth as silk. For others, especially as we move into our 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, this process can get a little bumpy. And because you're asleep, you don't get the chance to notice the small red flags the way you might during a busy afternoon. That's exactly why these 7 signs are called silent. They don't scream for attention. They whisper. And if you don't know what you're listening for, you'll sleep right through them night after night. For years, the first sign is waking up excessively thirsty, even after a full glass of water before bed. Now, everybody gets a little thirsty here and there, that's normal, but we're talking about a thirst that feels almost impossible to satisfy, one that has you reaching for water 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night. Here's the simple science behind it. When there's more sugar circulating in your blood than your body would like, your kidneys try to help flush some of it out through urine. That process pulls extra fluid from your body, and your brain responds by triggering thirst to replace what's being lost. It's your body's built-in balancing act. The problem is, most folks just keep a water bottle on the nightstand and never stop to ask why they suddenly need it every single night. Which brings us naturally to sign number 2. Frequent nighttime bathroom trips, something doctors sometimes call nocturia. If you're waking up 2, 3, even 4 times a night to use the bathroom, and this is a fairly new pattern for you, it's worth paying attention to. Yes, it can be related to other completely normal things like drinking fluids too close to bedtime, or simply due to age-related changes. But when it's paired with that intense thirst we just talked about, it starts to paint a clearer picture. Your body may be working overtime to clear excess sugar through your urine, and that means more trips to the bathroom, which means broken, fragmented sleep, which then affects your energy, your mood, and even your memory the next day. It's a domino effect that starts with something as simple as a bathroom trip. Now here's where a lot of people get confused. And this is sign number 3. Restless, poor quality sleep, even when you technically spent 8 hours in bed. You know that feeling where you wake up and think, I slept the whole night, so why do I feel like I got hit by a truck? Fluctuating blood sugar levels overnight can interfere with your natural sleep cycles, pulling you in and out of deep, restorative sleep without you even realizing it happened. You don't fully wake up, so you don't remember it, but your body never gets the deep rest it needs. This is one of those signs that's easy to blame on stress or your mattress, or just getting older, when the real story might be happening on a much more biochemical level. I want you to think back over the last few weeks. Have you noticed yourself feeling unusually irritable or foggy first thing in the morning, before you've even had your coffee? That's a clue we'll circle back to in just a moment, because it connects directly to sign number 4, and understanding this one might completely change the way you think about your evening routine. Sign number 4 is night sweats, or waking up feeling unusually warm, even in a cool room. Now, to be fair, night sweats can come from a lot of different places, especially for women going through hormonal changes. But when blood sugar swings too low overnight, which can sometimes happen as a rebound after it was too high earlier in the evening, your body can release stress hormones to correct it, and that can trigger sweating, a racing heart, or even a sense of shakiness that wakes you up in a bit of a panic. If you've ever woken up drenched, confused, and unsure why, and it wasn't from the room temperature, that's worth writing down and mentioning to your doctor, especially if it's become a pattern rather than a one-time thing. Let's pause here for a second, because I know this might feel like a lot of information at once. Here's the important thing to understand. None of these signs on their own mean something is definitely wrong. Your body is complicated and lots of things can cause thirst or bathroom trips or restless sleep. But when you start noticing 2, 3, or more of these signs happening together on a regular basis, that's when it's worth paying closer attention and having an honest conversation with your healthcare provider. Awareness isn't about panic. It's about catching small patterns early, while they're still easy to address through simple everyday lifestyle choices, which is exactly what we're going to dig into later in this video. Now, sign number 5 is the one I promised you at the beginning, and it's the one that fools almost everyone, because it doesn't feel like a nighttime issue at all. It's morning fatigue and grogginess that feels disproportionate to how much sleep you actually got. You did the math, you got your 7 or 8 hours, but you wake up feeling like you barely slept at all. Most people chalk this up to age, to stress, to just needing more coffee. But this kind of grogginess can actually be connected to overnight blood sugar swings interfering with the quality of your rest. Even if the quantity looked fine on paper, your body spent the night working overtime instead of resting. And that bill comes due the next morning in the form of brain fog, low motivation, and that heavy, sluggish feeling that coffee alone just can't fix. We're only halfway through these 7 signs, and honestly the next 2 are ones that people almost never connect to blood sugar at all. One of them involves your legs, and it's something that a lot of folks blame entirely on old age or sitting too much during the day. Stick around because in part 2, we're going to break down exactly what to look for, why it happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do about all of this starting tonight. Welcome back. Before we get into sign number 6, let's take a moment to reconnect the dots, because understanding the why behind these signs is what actually makes this information useful in your everyday life. Your body runs on a delicate rhythm, and blood sugar is a huge part of that rhythm. When you eat dinner, especially a dinner heavy in refined carbohydrates or sugary foods, your blood sugar rises. Ideally, it should come back down to a comfortable, steady level within a few hours, allowing your body to settle into deep, restful sleep. But for a lot of people over 50, this process doesn't happen as smoothly as it used to. And when that balance gets thrown off overnight, your body doesn't just sit there quietly. It reacts. And those reactions are exactly the 7 signs we're walking through together. So let's get into sign number 6. And this is the one involving your legs that I mentioned. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a sudden painful cramp in your calf or foot? Or maybe you've noticed a tingling, prickling, almost pins and needles sensation in your feet that seems to show up more at night than during the day. Many people immediately blame this on dehydration, or old age, or simply sleeping wrong. And sometimes that's exactly what it is. But over time, elevated blood sugar can affect the nerves and blood flow in your extremities, particularly your feet. And this can show up as nighttime discomfort, tingling, or cramping. It's often one of the earliest physical signs. And because it happens in your legs and feet, far away from where we usually think blood sugar issues would show up, it's one of the most commonly overlooked signals there is. And this leads us right into sign number 7, the final one on our list, and in many ways, the most important because it ties everything together. Unexplained. Gradual weight changes, particularly around the midsection, combined with feeling hungry again shortly after eating dinner, even a large one. Here's why this matters so much at night specifically. When your body isn't processing sugar as efficiently as it should, it can struggle to properly use the energy from your food. Even if you ate a completely reasonable, healthy portion, that can leave you feeling unsatisfied an hour or 2 after dinner, reaching for a snack right before bed, which then adds even more sugar into your system right when your body is trying to wind down for sleep. It becomes a cycle. You eat dinner, you still feel hungry, you snack late, your blood sugar rises again right before bedtime, and then you experience some combination of the 6 signs we just talked about. Restless sleep, bathroom trips, thirst, night sweats, morning fog. It all connects back to this one nighttime cycle. Now I want to be very clear about something because this is important. None of these 7 signs are a diagnosis. I'm not a doctor, and this video isn't meant to replace a conversation with your healthcare provider. What this video is meant to do is help you become a more aware, more informed observer of your own body, so that if you do notice a pattern, you can bring specific, useful information to your next doctor's visit instead of just saying, "I've been feeling off lately." Instead, you could say, "I've noticed I'm waking up thirsty 2 or 3 times a week. My feet tingle at night sometimes." and I feel foggy every single morning even after a full night's sleep. That kind of specific detail can make a real difference in getting the right guidance. So now let's talk about what actually matters most. What can you do starting tonight to support healthier blood sugar patterns and, hopefully, more peaceful, restorative sleep? Because here's the encouraging part of this whole conversation. Blood sugar isn't some mysterious, uncontrollable force. It responds often quite noticeably to everyday choices. Small, consistent habits, the kind you can start today without turning your whole life upside down, can make a meaningful difference over time. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Because in part 3, I'm going to walk you through practical, doable evening habits that many health experts and researchers suggest may help support more balanced blood sugar overnight, and in turn more restful, uninterrupted sleep. Before we move into that, I want you to think about your own evening routine for a second. What time do you typically eat dinner? Is it early enough to give your body a few hours to process it before bed? Or are you often eating just an hour or so before you turn out the lights? This one detail alone, the timing of your last meal, plays a much bigger role in your overnight blood sugar than most people realize, and it's one of the very first things we're going to tackle when we get into practical solutions. I also want to mention something encouraging here, because I don't want this video to leave you feeling worried or overwhelmed. The human body is remarkably responsive to positive change, especially when it comes to something like blood sugar balance. Research consistently suggests that simple lifestyle adjustments, things like meal timing, gentle movement, and stress management, can support healthier overnight patterns for a lot of people. This isn't about drastic overhauls or complicated rules. It's about small, sustainable shifts that fit naturally into your evening, the kind of changes that, over weeks and months, can genuinely add up to feeling more rested, more energized, and more like yourself again. One more thing before we move into the practical tips. I'd encourage you to think of these 7 signs almost like a gentle checklist you can run through in your head every morning for the next week or two. Did you wake up unusually thirsty? Did you make more than one bathroom trip? Did your legs cramp or tingle? Did you wake up sweaty or overheated? Did you feel groggy despite a full night's sleep? Were you hungry again shortly after dinner? Keeping a simple mental note or even jotting it down in a small notebook by your bed can help you notice patterns far more clearly than trying to remember details days or weeks later. This kind of simple self-awareness is honestly one of the most powerful and most underused health tools available to any of us, at any age. All right, let's move into part 3, where we bring everything together with real, practical steps you can start using tonight. Tips that are simple enough to fit into even the busiest routine, but meaningful enough to potentially make a real difference in how you feel when you wake up tomorrow morning. Let's start with the single most impactful habit, and it's also the simplest: paying attention to when you eat your last meal of the day. Many nutrition experts suggest leaving at least 2 to 3 hours between your last meal and bedtime. Why does this matter so much? Because it gives your body a real window of time to process the food you've eaten before you ask it to shift gears into rest and repair mode. When you eat a heavy meal right before bed, your body is essentially trying to do 2 demanding jobs at once: digest a big meal and prepare for deep sleep, and something usually gives. Often, it's the quality of your sleep that suffers first. Next, let's talk about what's actually on your plate at dinner, because not all evening meals affect your body the same way. A dinner that includes a good source of protein, some healthy fats, and plenty of fiber-rich vegetables tends to be processed more slowly and steadily than a meal that's mostly refined carbohydrates, like white bread, white rice, or heavily processed foods. This slower, steadier digestion can help support more stable blood sugar levels through the night. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start simply. Add a serving of vegetables to your dinner plate. Choose whole grains over refined ones when you can. Include a modest portion of lean protein, whether that's chicken, fish, beans, or lentils. These small swaps, repeated night after night, add up in ways that are genuinely meaningful over time. Here's a tip that surprises a lot of people: a short, gentle walk after dinner. Even just 10 to 15 minutes around your neighborhood or even inside your home can help your muscles use up some of the sugar from your meal more efficiently. You don't need a strenuous workout. You're not training for a marathon. You're simply giving your body a gentle nudge, a signal that says, let's put some of this energy to use, rather than letting it sit in your bloodstream while you settle onto the couch for the evening. Many people who add this simple after-dinner walk into their routine report feeling noticeably calmer and more settled by the time they're ready for bed. Let's talk about hydration, but in a smarter way than just drink more water. The goal isn't to chug a large glass of water right before bed, since that can actually contribute to more bathroom trips overnight. Instead, aim to spread your water intake more evenly throughout the day, staying nicely hydrated by the afternoon and early evening, then tapering off a bit in the hour or two before bedtime. This gentle rhythm can help reduce that uncomfortable, urgent nighttime thirst we talked about earlier, without leaving you dehydrated or sending you to the bathroom every hour on the hour. Stress management deserves a real spot on this list too, and I don't want you to skip over it just because it sounds less exciting than food tips. Stress hormones, particularly cortisol, can directly influence blood sugar levels, and chronic ongoing stress can make it harder for your body to keep things balanced, especially overnight. Simple practices like slow, deep breathing for just a few minutes before bed, gentle stretching, or even sitting quietly with a cup of caffeine-free herbal tea can help signal to your nervous system that it's genuinely time to wind down. Think of it as giving your body permission to relax, rather than asking it to shift from a stressful day straight into sleep mode with no transition at all. Sleep environment matters more than people give it credit for as well. A cool, dark, quiet bedroom supports deeper, more restorative sleep cycles, which in turn supports your body's natural overnight processes, including how it manages blood sugar. If your bedroom tends to run warm, or if light from outside tends to creep in, small adjustments like blackout curtains or a simple fan can make a bigger difference than you'd expect. And finally, one of the most powerful things you can do is simply stay consistent with your sleep and wake times even on weekends. Your body thrives on rhythm and predictability. When you go to bed and wake up at wildly different times throughout the week, it can throw off many of your body's internal processes, blood sugar regulation included. Try to pick a bedtime and wake time that works for your life, and stick with it as closely as you reasonably can, even when your schedule gets busy or your weekend looks different from your weekday. I want to leave you with this thought. Your body has been quietly talking to you for a long time, through thirst, through restless nights, through that groggy feeling that coffee just can't seem to fix. Tonight, you know what to listen for. You know the 7 signs: the excessive thirst, the frequent bathroom trips, the restless sleep, the night sweats, the morning grogginess, the leg tingling or cramping, and the late-night hunger that doesn't quite make sense. And more importantly, you now have real, practical, doable steps you can start tonight. Adjusting when you eat dinner, choosing what goes on your plate, taking a short walk after your meal, spacing out your water intake, managing stress before bed, improving your sleep environment, and keeping a consistent schedule. None of these require a complete life overhaul. They simply require a little awareness and a little consistency, night after night. If even one of these 7 signs sounded familiar to you tonight, I want you to do something simple. Drop a comment below and let me know which one hit closest to home. This community is full of people going through the exact same thing, at the exact same stage of life, and hearing from each other genuinely helps more than you might realize. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with a friend or family member who might be dealing with restless nights of their own. Because sometimes the people we love need to hear this information just as much as we do. And if you'd like more honest, practical, science-informed guidance on healthy aging, blood sugar, heart health, and staying strong and independent in the years ahead, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because there's a lot more helpful information coming your way. Take care of yourself tonight. Listen closely to what your body has been trying to tell you, and I'll see you in the next video.